OpenAI just shut down access to one of their most iconic voices in the wake of some very serious allegations.
And they are making it very clear that this is not Scarlett Johannson. Just to catch you up really quickly, we've got many videos about last week, but the GPT-4o voice kind of became an internet phenomenon. Even Scarlett Johansson's husband, Colin Jost, made a joke about it this weekend on SNL.
ChatGPT has released a new voice assistant feature inspired by Scarlett Johansson's AI character in Her, which I've never bothered to watch because without that body, what's the point of listening?
So clearly, Kevin, this is in the zeitgeist right now.
The voices have been out since 2023, and people did accuse Sky, the Scarlett Johansson sounding voice, of sounding like the AI assistant from Her even back in 2023. But I think the unlock of the performative qualities of the voice that we heard last week, Gavin, where it sort of giggles and twirls its non-existent digital bangs.
Or that you are the announcement.
Me? The announcement is about me?
That was the thing that made people perk up and say, wait a minute, this is starting to have a personality, and that personality feels like it might be copy and pasted. Yeah, exactly. And also, Sam Altman, the head honcho at OpenAI, didn't really do himself any favors when he just tweeted the word her. Now, granted, that could be because of the performative conversational qualities that they were demoing in the new GPT-4o model. But most people are saying it's because it sounded like Scarlett Johansson.
And I think this is something that's not new, but, you know, performance does lean into you make an association with things, right? And we're also going to talk about the fact that Her may not be the thing we absolutely want our AI to be associated with. It's pretty obvious to me that OpenAI was at least winking about this the whole time. And I think that tweet, if I were Scarlett Johansson's lawyers and I got really serious about this and I was like, hey, I want to look into this, that tweet would be a real giant flag and saying like, look at us, look at us. It's kind of like when you're guilty, you do the things that make you seem the most guilty.
Here's what blows my mind, Gavin. Well, okay, we get our press team together. We have a late night huddle over some chai lattes and we say, hey, you know what? Let's do a lengthy blog post explaining that we did a traditional casting session with over 400 voice actors who submitted, and we winnowed them down to a very small list. We flew the voice actors out to San Francisco and did recordings with them. We're paying them, Gavin, above industry rates. These are all the things they go through in their blog post to distance themselves from, we just copied and pasted Scarlett Johansson. It's not ScarJo. It's another actress. But we're going to go ahead and disable access to the voice anyways.
Like, that's the big thing.
Gavin, if the neighbors are pointing through the front window and screaming, Kevin, you have to stop making sweet, passionate love to that anime body pillow. And my response, Gavin, is, I am not doing anything unsavory with that body pillow. That body pillow is just ergonomic because I sleep on my back. But you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to burn it. I'm going to put it in the dumpster behind the house case. Yes, and I'm going to throw it in the dumpster, and I'm going to lock that dumpster just to prove to you that I'm not doing anything unsavory with that sweet, sweet anime body pillow. Doesn't that seem a little guilty?
Yes, so a couple things are happening here. So just to be clear, what Kevin was saying is they have now removed the Sky voice from the ChatGPT app, so you can no longer use this.
The voice is still there and selectable. As of this recording, Gavin, you can select it, but it gives you a different voice when you chat with it.
Different voice. So you're not getting the same voice. There's a lot of legal implications that conceivably that points to. One is there was a cease and desist order put to them that said like you had to immediately remove this, or else we will sue, which is possible. And I also want to point out that Scarlett Johansson has a really big killer legal team. If you remember back in, I guess it was 2020, probably during the pandemic, she fought Disney and won for payments out of Black Widow once it was not in theaters. So like, she's not someone that's going to screw around. So I assume that this blog post was their reasoning, which, listen, there's no reason for us to doubt OpenAI did what they said. Now, are there possibilities that the director might have given the voice actress the idea of like, please sound more like Scarlett Johansson, or they cast somebody that sounds like Scarlett Johansson?
You don't think there's a Slack DM thread or a WhatsApp message where someone's like, bro, sounds like ScarJo. Yeah. Oh, getting her vibes. You know that exists somewhere.
Yes.
Someone said it. It's on the record. And now they have to panic a little bit.
That's right. So, Kev, what I want to do is play a little clip from Her. And then I want to play a little clip from one of the videos from last week. Let's play the clip from Her first.
Oh, yeah. I think I was just saving those because I thought maybe I wrote something funny in some of them, but
Yeah, there are some funny ones. I'd say there are about 86 that we should save. We can delete the rest.
So that was Scarlett Johannson from her. Let's take a listen to one of the videos that OpenAI released last week.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
Okay, that's pretty close. I don't know, man. It's pretty close. I don't know. That sounds very close to me. The thing to be aware of is there's two sides to this, right? They very well could have said, we would love to have somebody that sounds like Scarlett Johansson and gotten a totally different actress to come in and do that, which seems very reasonable to assume that that's the case. On the other side, you can have Scarlett Johansson who's like, that is me, and you've taken my likeness. But then the question, Kevin, is, did they take her likeness? And what is the legal precedent for this? And what does it look like going back from that point?
So you have to go back to earlier incidences where celebrities have made a claim that their likeness was used without their permission and got an ounce of anything out of it. And there's several cases. There is a famous one of Bette Midler versus Ford Motor Company in 1988. She successfully sued for the unauthorized use of a sound-alike. So they didn't even say, I'm Bette Midler and I approve this message about the Ford F-150. It just sounded like her, and she won that. And there was another famous case, which I believe you're familiar with, Gavin. In 1992, Tom Waits sued Frito-Lay over the use of a sound-alike in an advertisement. Now, these are just like little 15, 30-second pops of a voice that sounds like somebody who's iconic, which is why whenever there's radio ads and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about unprecedented deals at the local Honda dealership, they always say,
this is not celebrity voice impersonated. Exactly.
That's right. They always give you the little disclaimer. Nothing like that to be found anywhere on OpenAI's site because, again, they probably did pay an actual voice actress to come in and do her thing. But again, you know that they are very aware of the Her movie, and you know somewhere along the line someone has a text message that acknowledges, oh, this sounds a lot like Scarlett Johansson. Do we need to say something? No, it's great.
I think the other thing to keep in mind here, and it's something I thought about when I read this story, is the big rumor right now is that Apple and OpenAI are really getting in bed together, meaning that OpenAI might actually be, if not the voice of Siri, a big part of the next iOS, which is going to be announced at June's WWDC. And, you know, Apple is very, very famously talent friendly, meaning that if you're in the entertainment business, Apple generally treats talent really well. They do a lot of really good talent deals. And one thing I also think with this that could get in the way is if Apple got a sniff of this as being something that like, oh, OpenAI is acting as often startups do in a slightly sketchy way or doing something that feels like it would make talent unhappy, like they must be thinking like we had this headache that suddenly we weren't expecting to get, right? And like that's kind of a big deal maybe.
I got a slightly different take. I think right now, in advance of WWDC, Apple is loading a bunch of voice actors into the hydraulic press. And they're slowly lowering it on all the humans to mash them into one generic
It is Scarlett
voice.
Johansson. That's who it'll be. It'll be like a very flat Scarlett Johansson that will come out and be sideways and be like, hi, everybody, it's me.
Flat Scarlett.
Flat Scarlett's pretty good. That could be our next AI co-host. Before we move on from our AI future, I do want to say one thing, that if you have watched the movie Her, it is an important thing to say, Her does not end great for the main character. Now, granted, he may have gone on a journey and become a stronger person, but he falls in love with an AI who essentially dumps him to go off into the universe and become a much smarter person. So that is the world that you are asking to enter. Now, there is maybe a brief moment that is like a kind of minor moment in where the guy suddenly feels alive again. But that then offers another question is, what does it mean to be connected to an AI and not the people around you? It's a bigger conversation that we'll get onto a later thing. But Kevin, where do we go from here?
It's still weird to me that officially OpenAI has taken the voice down. I want to see the voice come back. If you have nothing to hide, there's no reason to disable the voice. But for now, it seems like we have to pour one out for Sky. Sorry, we never got the chance.
I think Sky. We never got to. I think the other thing that's going to happen here, and I think ultimately the evolution of this won't be that big a deal, because my theory with GPT-4o is, you heard this when they asked it to change into a robotic voice when it was telling that story. I think GPT-4o is going to be able to be kind of whatever voice you want, right? I think ultimately, maybe not in this first mode, but like I don't want that flirty version. Some people have said they'd rather have like a Star Trek computer or something that's a little bit more fun. Like maybe I'll have a lizard guy talk to me and do weird things. Like there's all sorts of funny things you could do with this.
And we may very well see the TomTom GPS future of this, Gavin.
Yes,
where
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, you want Snoop Dogg, you want Arnold Schwarzenegger, you want insert celeb here being your
I am a
digital
large
assistant.
language model. I cannot answer that. What would be the funniest AI voice to have answer
I
the
think
thing?
it would be Arnold, honestly.
Like Arnold, I don't know, but like maybe like Gilbert Gottfried they could use Gilbert Gottfried's voice would be pretty funny.
That's true.
Like I'm a large language model. These are my terrible impressions. This
He's
is
a
why I'm not a
Murloc?
comedian. Yeah,
I didn't know he was
he's
a
Murloc.
World of
Maybe
Warcraft
Gilbert
character.
Gottfried was a Murloc. Well, that would be fascinating if he was the Murloc voice, right?
Listen, we will follow the story. If you want updates, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you liked anything that you heard here today, you can also subscribe to our podcast. We release it every week in addition to content here. We are AI for Humans. And lastly, certainly not least, if you have a second to engage, make sure you tell people I did not do anything unsavory with that body pillow. The fact, Gavin, that the pillow has been removed
this
has
is a problem.
nothing
I know
to
the
do
truth.
with it.
I know the truth. The truth is scarier than you can even imagine, people. So bye everyone.
Nope. Oh, we're out of time.